That evening, the television murmured softly in the family room, filling the house with the low rhythm of the news. I sat in my green velvet armchair, the one I had bought with my very first Social Security check after my husband passed away 15 years ago. The coffee beside me was still warm, and the kitchen smelled faintly of peach cobbler. This was my quiet time, the 1 hour of the day when my joints loosened, my thoughts slowed, and I existed without serving anyone. Then the front door slammed. I didn't turn my head. I already knew who it was. Derek always entered like a storm, as if noise itself announced his authority. His footsteps were heavy, impatient. Behind him, my daughter Lena followed, her arms loaded with shopping bags, her shoulders curved inward, her eyes fixed on the floor as though apologizing for being visible. Derek stopped directly in front of the television. The screen flickered as his shadow swallowed the light. He picked up the remote and pressed the red button. The sound cut off mid-sentence. The silence hit the room like a gunshot. "Go to your room, old woman," he said. "I've got the game on. This living room is mine now." I didn't speak. I didn't blink. I slowly turned my head toward Lena. She stood frozen near the kitchen doorway, her fingers tight around the grocery bags. I waited. Just one sentence. One line. "Don't speak to my mother like that. This is her house." But Lena lowered her gaze and adjusted a bag as if something inside had shifted. That small movement landed harder than any insult. In that moment, something inside me cleared. It wasn't anger. It wasn't shame. It was clarity. Cold, sharp, unmistakable. 35 years working at the county recorder's office had taught me one permanent truth. Words are temporary, but documents are final. I stood up slowly. My knees cracked in the quiet room, loud and dry, like a stamp pressed onto paper. Derek had already dropped onto the couch, opening a soda, turning up the sports channel as if I were nothing more than furniture rearranging itself. I walked to my bedroom. Not to cry, not to hide. I opened the bottom drawer of my dresser and pulled out a stiff leather folder I hadn't touched in years. Inside were papers yellowed at the edges but strong as steel. The deed, the title, the proof. Owner, Celeste M. Everson. My name. I looked at myself in the mirror. Short grey hair, glasses on a chain, linen trousers, a navy blouse. I looked like the grandmother who baked cookies and stayed quiet. That had been my camouflage. As long as I fed the wolves, they felt like kings. The moment I stopped, the illusion would collapse. I slipped the papers back into the folder, took my keys, and walked through the family room. Derek smirked and lifted his soda. "Taking a walk, Celeste? Don't get lost." "At your age." I didn't answer. I opened the front door and paused. The framed prints on the wall. The rug I vacuumed every Saturday. My son-in-law's back. My daughter's shadow in the kitchen. Then I stepped outside and closed the door behind me. Not loudly, not dramatically, just firmly. Like placing a period at the end of a long sentence. That night, I stayed at a hotel downtown. The room smelled of clean linen and lavender. I turned on the television, adjusted the volume to my liking, and ordered soup and a glass of wine. I slept deeply. The kind of sleep that comes when you stop negotiating with yourself. In the morning, I made one phone call. "I want to evict 2 tenants," I said calmly. There was a pause. "They live in my house without a lease." The lawyer understood immediately. By noon, the papers were prepared. By the next morning, a young man in a sharp suit rang the doorbell of my house and handed Derek a formal eviction notice. 30 days. Panic followed. Missed calls, messages, accusations. I didn't respond. Instead, I made a few practical decisions. I suspended the internet, the cable, the sports package, the supplementary credit card, not out of revenge, out of order. When my daughter finally reached me, her voice cracked with panic. Mum, what are you doing? The card won't work. The internet is gone. Derek is furious. Come home. Let's talk. I am talking, I replied calmly. Just not in the language you're used to. There was silence on the line. That afternoon, Lena came to see me. She looked smaller somehow. Wrinkled blouse, tired eyes, the confidence drained from her posture. You're humiliating us, she whispered. Everyone saw the card fail at the store. Humiliation, I said softly, is being told to go to your room in your own house. She tried one last time. He didn't mean it. He was stressed. I know, I said. And now he's learning something new. Stress doesn't buy property. She left without another word. That evening I sat alone again. Not in fear, not in doubt, but in peace. For 4 years I had shrunk myself inside my own home. I ate the burned edges of pie and left the center for the king of the living room. I watched television with headphones. I paid bills and stayed silent. I mistook endurance for love. That mistake ended the moment I walked out the door. Some people think power looks loud. It doesn't. Power looks like silence backed by paper. Power looks like knowing when to leave and when not to return. That day I didn't lose my family. I reclaimed my life. Respect is not given by age. It is taken back by courage. And sometimes, the quietest exit is the loudest lesson of all.